Evo. He was actually my personal coach throughout all of RLCSX, but he was also on the original Team Green that made top 2. And oh my goodness, I cannot wait to see how he continues to play, as we've not seen him in a little while. And of course the rest of Team Blue, in regards to Clarky and Cabbage, aka Love You. It's going to be an amazing series to see how well this series goes, because oh my goodness, I don't know how the series is going to go out, but Team Cyan definitely the favorites. They have not lost a single game yet this season. Are going to be looking to try and continue that. However, I've heard from Benji himself that he does respect Team Blue a lot, and even though they're playing with Evo rather than Itsuki, Clarky and Cabbage are still people to very well be afraid of. Here we go. Ball's going to bounce out mid, back over to Thirsty. Thirsty, back bouncing it out now is Cabbage. Cabbage trying to pop the ball down the field. Clarky into the air, isn't able to get the redirect. It's going to be up to Benji to get the save. Benji will get the save. So far, very solid gameplay here from both teams. No goals just yet, but it looks like we got 2 demos on the board here. Momentary 2v2. But now here comes Cabbage here, playing on the Fennec. This is the first time we've ever really seen Havoc in Havoc. Cabbage playing a different card, and it looks like Team Blue will actually score first. Look at this right here from Team Blue, managing to get the first goal on the board. Cabbage on 0 boost, getting the pass out mid, and Team Blue taking the early lead. Remember, for every team that is lower in Havoc, they are hoping that Team Cyan start losing games, especially Team White, who actually lost 2 games to Team Blue earlier this season. They're hoping that Team Cyan ends up losing a couple games here against one of the teams, at least until they play each other. That way Team White can start pushing for that top spot early on in the split. So here we go. Ball's going to get popped over to the back corner. It's going to be taken over by Thirsty. Thirsty ends up losing the fake challenge. It's going to be back over to Mini. Mini ends up taking possession. Looks for a bump. It's going to be over to Evo now. Evo playing on, it looks like the Dingo. Isn't able to get the touch out mid, but he does get a bump, and he keeps bumping out Thirsty. It's going to be up to Clarky. Clarky into the air. Back over to Mini now. It's going to be taken away by Cabbage. Cabbage here into the air. Ends up losing the 50-50 to Benji, where Evo will pass the ball back and be taken over by Clarky. But so far, all these games are looking very, very solid at this moment in time. Benji doing his best to try and keep his team in it. But now it's going to be over to Clarky. Clarky ends up missing the ball, though, and Evo, that may have been the most insane own goal of all time, puts a strong shot on target, and that's going to be 1-1 now after Thirsty beats out Clarky, and then Evo tries to catch the ball, ends up getting a ball over to the top corner of his net. That's going to be very sad there from Evo. However, Team Cyan are definitely going to be happy getting another goal on the board. Team Cyan, even though they've gotten sweeps in both weeks, they have played very close games with both of their opponents. And in the end, the better team should always win, but Team Cyan have kept close games. And if you keep close games versus everybody, you're inevitably going to lose against another, even a worse team, considering how good all these teams are in Havoc. Here we go. Ball's going to bounce out mid. Benji ends up not being able to get the touch he needs to, but luckily for him, Thirsty saves his butt. Now over to Thirsty. Thirsty manages to get the boost in the back corner. Going to be losing it to Clarky. Clarky looks for the redirect, and Team Blue once again up by 1. Clarky getting his 2nd goal of the game. Clarky really stepping up here, but again, it's Cabbage with the assist. So even though we see Clarky has both goals, if we do look at the scoreboard, Cabbage has both the assists and is currently at the top of the scoreboard, doing a lot for his team, trying to make sure that his team will get a win here. Cabbage is taking it seriously. Cabbage has been friends with Benji for a very long time, and is honestly one of the players that Cabbage is trying to strive up against. Cabbage at this moment in time has told me himself that he wants to be up to Benji's level at the very least. Even though Cabbage is higher ranked in 2s, currently 1900 when it comes to the ranked 2s playlist, which is above Benji, he still considers himself worse than Benji in regards to 3s, and it's something that we're going to have to take into consideration. Maybe his respect for Benji might lead to him either trying harder and doing better, or maybe even playing worse. However, at this moment in time, we still see Team Blue in the lead, so Cabbage is definitely not being affected too much playing against the Team Cyan offense. However, Team Cyan have been very close to tying up this game multiple times now. Just want to thank everybody who has been following and pushing up with the rest of this stream. It's been a pleasure casting for you guys over the last 2 days and over the last few weeks, and I will be continuing to do so throughout the entirety of the existence of Havoc as I continue to try and do my best. Of course, we do try to get other casters in here, but primarily I will be casting for the most part. You guys will generally get to see me for better or for worse. But now, ball's going to get cleared away, and now with a minute left on the clock, Team Cyan on the verge of losing their first game. Of course, it's nowhere near Team White's split one, where they didn't lose a single game until they actually faced Team Cyan in the last week of split one. But now the ball's going to get popped over to the other side. Benji into the air, back over to Mini. Mini looking for the follow, but it's going to be over to Benji. Benji looks at the shot, and they will tie up the game. Team Blue not able to hold on, and of course, who else but Benji to get the tying goal here to keep his team in it and try to keep that perfect record alive. There's only been one team in Havoc history that has ever gotten a perfect season. That means they swept every single team, and it was back in Season 2, where main team, consisting of Mesco, Chero, and myself, we ended up not losing a single game the entire league play. That's the last time it happened back in Season 2. The last closest time we had something similar to that was last season, where Team White didn't lose a single game until the final week of Split 1. So definitely it is possible for Havoc teams to get to that point, but the question is not if it's possible, the question is if it will happen. And right now, Team Blue on the cusp of being able to do so, but Clarky's going to have to make sure he gets these final solid touches to bring this to an overtime, or at least get a final chance on the offensive side. Cabbage will pop the ball off the corner, and it's going to go to an overtime, just like Team Green versus Team Gray. We got a 2-2 overtime in Game 1. What we're going to have to look for in this overtime is who's going to play solid. Are we going to see possession, or are we going to see ping pong? We of course have heard from Benji on stream that he tries his best to keep his team composed, look for possession, and be a solid team, especially when it comes to overtimes. But the question is not if he knows that's the right thing. The question is if he will act on his thoughts. But now Cabbage looking to maintain possession here in the offensive corner, flicks it past two players. Luckily for Benji, though, Thirsty will take the ball away once again. Thirsty being one of the saviors here for his team. This time, though, Benji will call off Mini and take the ball into his offensive corner. Looking for the 50-50s Benji. Pass it over to Evo. Evo passes it back to Clarky. Evo ends up bumping out Clarky, and that double is going to allow Team Cyan maybe an offensive chance here. Ball to the backboard. Follow up here from Thirsty, and Thirsty will get the goal. Oh my goodness, look at this shot. Mini pass it up to Thirsty, and Thirsty gets the double tap. Now that is what we like to see. Now, of course, we talked about before with Avdiel that play-in was Season 3. I played with Carter and Ulti, who at the time weren't even really Grand Champ. I believe Carter was Grand Champ, but Ulti wasn't anywhere near Grand Champ. And we ended up getting third just by me being on their team, only ended up losing to Team Blue, which ended up being two-time Havoc champions, consisting of Benji, the Japanese pro, and Furlash, and then Wolfie as well. And of course now Benji's a three-time champion, but we ended up losing out, and a lot of players felt it was unfair if I played in the league, which now I don't think it would be unfair if I played in the league now, but it's also the point of it does make it difficult for teams to play. We do have production and everything now not done by me, but of course if it was Taz and I playing against each other, then we have to wonder who would be doing production for that game. But overall, would I enjoy playing in my league again? Yes. Would I? No. But now it's going to be back over, still 1 minute left on the clock, and it's going to be a tie game here between these two teams. Now it looks like we may have, looks like Evo was disconnected there just for the moment. We may have a momentary 2v3. And it looks like Evo is still AFK. It's still 2v3. If you guys do not know the rules of Havoc, if a player disconnects mid-game, the game does continue. It's still 0-0, but Evo's fighting back, and now Team Blue are going to have to try and win a 2v3 to just keep themselves in this series. Now, ball is going to be back over to the side wall, over to Clarky. Clarky trying to maintain possession here. We guys to get the ball over one, and right now Team Blue are doing a very good job trying to waste down this clock. At this moment in time, Team Blue are not just trying to get the win, they're trying to reset everything, and it looks like Evo's back in the game. Team Cyan weren't able to score on the 2v3, and they're going to have to go back to a 3v3 and play their own normal style, trying to get back into this. Team Blue, them holding up that 2v3 might give them some confidence, and might be able to be enough confidence to take their first win off Team Cyan. Of course, no one this season is really expecting Team Cyan to get a perfect season, as there are teams like Team White, and of course the team that beat Team Cyan in the seeding tournament, Vision Esports. Vision Esports Red, but hold on one second. Mini is going to get his first goal after it looks like maybe an own goal. Or, sorry, Benji got the double tap. Love actually hits off the crossbar, and Mini's just falling on the ball, and that'll be the first goal there for Team Cyan. That's going to be a great one there for their teams. But of course, Team Cyan, they have lost to Team White and Vision Esports Red earlier this season, but that, of course, that was during the seeding tournament where they haven't had any practice. Now, hopefully, we see them continue to try and push forward, be aggressive, and maybe if they do end up getting to that point where they're still at a perfect season when they face those teams, maybe they can keep it going. But right now, Team Blue looking to fight back, try to take away the perfect season, but it looks like we get another 2v3. Ball's going to pop up high, 1-0 now. It's going to be Team Cyan. Back over to Mini. Mini ends up leaving it. It's going to be up to Team Cyan now to try and keep up with the 2v3 as Thirsty tries to regain connection. Ball going to be back over to Clarky. Benji ends up getting a 50-50. Evo pops the ball high. Mini's last on defense. Cabbage looks for a pass back, but Evo ends up not being able to get to it. Clarky taking his time. Going to be in the air. Mini gets the bump on him. Benji looking to maintain possession. Goes straight to Evo, but Evo ends up not being able to put it on target. Again, still... apparently 2v3s are impossible to score on when it comes to Havoc League play. Thirsty still not back in the game. Ball bounces out mid. Mini will get the save again. But the one comparison I want to draw between the two 2v3s at this moment in time is that Team Blue on the 2v3 we're still playing aggressive and keeping pressure. But here we go. Maybe Benji can get a goal here. Almost gets a goal. But now Mini is in a 1v1 against probably one of the best mechanical players in Havoc. Cabbage gets the bump, and that's a tied game. Team Cyan. Oh, there we go. But Team Cyan are going to be happy at the very least. Thirsty managed to come back just in the nick of time, so it's only going to be a 1 goal due to the 2v3. But so far, 2v3s galore here in game number 2, but Team Cyan definitely going to be looking to try and get the win here in this game still. Only being scored on in a 2v3 by a 1v1 of Mini versus Cabbage. But now the ball's going to be back in the air. Benji pops the ball off the side wall over to Thirsty. Thirsty will pass it mid. It's going to be saved away. Now back over to Mini. Mini looks for the backflip shot. It's going to be now a pass from Clarky to Cabbage. Cabbage ends up not being able to get to the ball. Clarky will pass it upfield to Evo. Evo passes it down mid, but no one's going to be there. And Thirsty's going to try and take it away. Cabbage ends up getting beat. It's going to be up to Evo. Evo gets completely dunked on by Thirsty. Mini into the air, hits the ball off the curve, looking for a double tap, pinches the ball back down mid. It's going to be pinched out again by Team Blue. Team Blue looking to try and get their first win here in this series. They are currently 1-1 in the standings. So if they do manage, currently Teams Blue, even if they don't think they can win this series, they want to try and get as many games as they can off Team Cyan, not just for their own sake so they don't get swept, but for other teams as well who want to try and catch up to Team Cyan. But here we go. Ball's going to get popped over and across. It's going to be shot on target. Evo ends up missing the ball, and Thirsty, he was the one who won the overtime in game number 2, and now back from disconnecting in game number 2, has put the ball on target. Evo just couldn't get back to the ball, and that's going to be unlucky there for Team Blue, as Team Cyan going to be looking to try and put this on match point if they can hold this lead for another 28 seconds. And they're a very defensive-minded team, so they definitely should be able to do so. Evo trying to pass the ball mid. It's going to be back over to Mini. Mini back to Thirsty. Thirsty shoots again, and Thirsty will get a second goal on the board. Apparently, all he needed was a disconnection, and he's going to continue to pop off here in game number 2. We saw him get that double tap, and he's continuing to play solid. Thirsty, definitely one of the more standout players here in this series. And everybody, I do have to ask you, who do you guys think from the last few games, if anybody has been watching, who do you guys think has been one of the more standout players for all the teams that have won or lost? It doesn't matter if they won or lost. Does anybody have any ideas on who they thought were standout players that really helped their teams get the win, or at least help them keep it close? One of my contenders definitely has to be Lettuce from the Team Greens. But Tazaro, I believe you can search up his name. You'll find him there. He does production here. He helps out with us. He helps with other people as well. He's been a blessing. But also thank you to everybody who moderates. Benji, head moderator, and everybody's moderating tonight. We have Fahrenheit currently, an Academy player from yesterday, as you know, if you guys saw the matches. Team Orange from Academy. He's helping us with moderation today. And then Casserole as well. After playing his first series, he helped moderate in game number 2. We have a lot of lovely people here helping us. We got Loki Beats providing us with the music as well. Faith, of course, will help us out with music in the future. A lot of people here helping us out, and thank you to everybody who's been watching and supports the great work that all these people are doing here for this, for our organization. But here we go. I'm now after that little side tangent, or sorry, after that little tangent, there's no such thing as a side tangent. Now it's going to be back over to Clarky. 0-0 here with 4 minutes left. Team Blue still looking for their first win tonight. Back over to Benji. Benji will pinch the ball across. Now back over to Clarky. Clarky's going to lose the 50-50. Now over once again. Now back over to Thirsty. Thirsty leaves it. It's going to be back over now. Over to Evo. Evo, back over to Benji. Benji gonna be looking for a pass across over to Thirsty. Thirsty trying to maintain possession. Now over to Cabbage. Cabbage passes the ball over. Over now to the other side for Cabbage. Cabbage tries to maintain possession. But that's gonna be a double demo there from Benji and Thirsty. But luckily for Team Blue's coach, Evo, maintaining possession and trying to waste down some time to allow his teammates to not only respawn, but grab boost as well. Evo here on low boost, pops the ball to the backboard. It's going to be a double commit from Team Cyan. Thirsty can't get the touch. Ball's going to be bounced out mid, but Benji will get the save at the final moment. Evo looking for a shot. It's going to be wide. Now back over to Cabbage. Cabbage into the air. Here comes Clarky looking for the shot. It's going to be saved away once again. Now back into the hands of Evo. Evo trying to maintain possession. Gets the dunk on one, but it's going to go right back into the hands of Benji. Benji. Now back over to Clarky. Clarky tries to pass it over to Cabbage. Cabbage looking for the pre-flip off the wall. Isn't able to get back to it. Now back over to Mini. Mini into the air. Looking for the flip reset. No, actually, he goes to the flip reset later. Isn't able to get it, though. And still, with half the game remaining, we still are at 0-0, at least for the moment. Ball bounces out. Mini has an empty net to shoot at, and that's going to be a goal lead. Team Cyan now have the goal lead in what could be the final game of the series. That's what we like to see, ladies and gentlemen, as it's now 1-0, 2.5 minutes left to go in this game, and Team Cyan looking strong, looking poised to take this first series here, take the third series here of tonight. Coach Evo has, of course, stepped up majorly for his team, but it hasn't been enough as it seems, as Team Cyan looking to get their third sweep in the standings here, bringing them to completing them, keeping them in first place at the moment in time. Clarky trying to maintain possession, gets the ball past one, going to bounce out mid to Benji. Benji looks at the shot, it's going to be wide, and now Cabbage will maintain possession. Thirsty pops the ball over to the side wall. Cabbage will get the interception and maintain possession, but he looks like he's on 0 boost. It looks like he's trying to fake he has 0 boost, but Mini completely reads him, and now it's going to be back over to the back wall. Benji looks for a pass mid, follow-up from Thirsty. Thirsty been popping off all night, but Clarky ends up not being able to follow the ball. It's going to be a shot on target. Mini stepping up for his team now, leading now with 2 goals. That's what we like to see here from Mini, stepping up. Even though he has Thirsty, one of the most improved players in Havoc. Benji, one of the top players in Havoc. Mini, somebody who's always trying to step up here for his team. 2 minutes left on the clock. Now back over to Mini. Mini ends up leaving it. It's going to go back over to Clarky. Clarky passes the ball across to Cabbage. Cabbage hits the ball off the back wall, looking for the double tap. Isn't able to hit it, and even though it is a very difficult mechanic, double taps are not something we're used to see Cabbage missing. He's definitely one of the most mechanical players in Havoc, getting all the way up to 1902s, but he just isn't able to connect on that shot here. Maybe the pressure's getting to him. As we said earlier in game number 1, he does respect Benji a lot, and he's trying to do his best to win a game here, but it hasn't been enough. Now Evo going off the ceiling, tries to beat Benji, but Benji gets a pre-flip, gets the read on the touch and the double tap. Benji looking poised to be one of the better players in Havoc as he continues to show up here against these other teams. Now back over to Benji with an extravagant touch over the one person. Now it's going to be over to Clarky. Clarky gets the 50-50. It's going to be over to Evo. Evo gets the pinch out mid. Maybe if Cabbage can get back to this ball, but it looks like he's out of boost. Cabbage trying to maintain possession. Into the air, looking for a pass out mid, isn't able to get back to it. Now over to Mini once more. Evo looks to lose the 50-50. It's going to be back over to Thirsty. Thirsty back to Cabbage. Cabbage looking for the musty pass mid. He gets it mid. Was there going to be an own goal? No. Thirsty will clear it away. Very close opportunity there for Cabbage, he just isn't able to get the ball in the back of the net when needed most. 35 seconds left on the clock. The ball will get launched down long. Evo looks for the pre-jump, isn't able to get back to it. Ball will bounce out now mid. Over to Benji. Benji trying to maintain possession, but Evo can't gets to the ball first. Clarky passes the ball over to Cabbage. Cabbage actually bumps Clarky on the way there. Clarky might be in position, though, isn't able to get back to it. We're going to have to see Team Blue trying to score here before 0 seconds if they want even a chance to come back in this game, let alone this series. But now as 10 seconds winds down the clock, it's going to be up to Thirsty. Thirsty now over to Clarky. Clarky now puts it over to the side wall. Now back over to Benji. Benji into the air, and that's going to be the end of the series. Team Cyan completing their 3rd sweep in a row, completing and keeping themselves at the top part of the game, top part of the standings, excuse me. But the ball's going to go in the back of the net. Benji puts the ball in the back of the net, 0 seconds, 3-0 here for Team Cyan, 3-0 in the series. Team Cyan solidifying themselves in that 1st place spot, still yet to lose a